we are learning about atoms, compounds, and mixtures in Unit 1 of our book. And I'm just going to read through everything so you can just listen and look. The definition of an atom is that atoms are the smallest particle of which all matter consists. 1.1. Particles. Matter are made up of atoms, and atoms are made up of neutrons, protons, and electrons. Atoms. The charge. A neutron is without charge, so it's neutral, so neutral. Proton is positive. Both start with a P. It's positively charged, and electrons are negative. It's the only one that's left. Where are they found? The neutron is found in the nucleus, and the proton is found also in the nucleus, and the electron is found in the space around the nucleus. So let's look at the diagram here. This is a lithium atom. Here we'll see the negatively charged electrons around the nucleus, which is in the middle. The nucleus is made out of protons, which are positively charged, and neutrons, which are not charged at all with anything, so they're neutral. So neutrons are neutral particles that are found in the nucleus of an atom. Protons are positive particles that are found in the nucleus of the atom. And electrons are negative particles that are found around the nucleus of the atom. Decomposition. Compounds can be broken down or decomposed into simpler products, but energy must be added. Quick facts. A chemical reaction which breaks down a compound into simpler products is called a decomposition reaction. You can look at the examples, but some more examples of decomposition reactions are water and potassium permanganate. That's a difficult word. Alright, quick facts. The gas that is released in a practical investigation can be tested. A glowing wooden splint can be held in the gas, and if the wooden splint catches fire, the gas is oxygen. Mixtures. What are the properties of a mixture? A mixture is the components are not in a specific ratio. The components retain their own properties, and the components can be separated by any physical means. So, atoms are made out of matter, and matter can be a mixture or a pure material. Now, mixtures are particles that are not all the same, and then these two or more materials that are mixed without chemically reacting to each other, like they are impure. So they're different. Examples. Tap water contains chemicals like chlorine to make it suitable for use. Seawater contains salt and sand. Air contains different gases like smoke particles and dust and so forth. Pure materials that are particles that are the same. And it can be elements or compounds. Compounds can be broken down chemically into simpler parts. Examples. Helium gas, copper, table salt, carbon dioxide, iron, and distilled water. Atoms. Mixtures can be separated by physical means like hand sorting, separating, funnel, and so forth and so forth. Quick facts. Mixtures are separated by physical means, while compounds can be separated by chemical means. Here we are from page 131, and we're still on atoms. A definition. An element is a substance that cannot be broken down into two or more materials by chemical means, so it's in its original form. Elements are placed in order on the basis of the number of protons in the nucleus. So they're in the order here from the protons in the nucleus. The elements are placed vertically in groups on the basis of the number of electrons. So vertically on the number of electrons, and they placed horizontally on the basis of an energy level on which the outermost electrons are found. We will do the periodic table a little bit later. There are also diatomic molecules that do not necessarily consist of identical atoms. These molecules are known as diatomic compounds, and an example of this is hydrogen chloride. Quick facts. The 7 diatomic elements on the periodic table are hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygen. These are all the gens. Then we have fluorine, chlorine, bromine, and iodine. So we have fluorine, chlorine, iodine with the ion, and then bromine. Alright, so let me just show you where they are on the periodic table. So we have hydrogen over there, and then we jump over to nitrogen, which is another blue one, then oxygen, then fluorine, which is purple, chlorine, bromine, and iodine. So just remember this little pattern here. The 7 diatomic elements. Compounds. Elements can react with each other chemically to form compounds, like the element helium and the element oxygen. When they come together, they form the compound ammonia. Atoms. Atoms are made out of pure materials, and the particles are the same for pure materials, and they are made out of elements and compounds. Now, elements are material that cannot be broken down into simpler parts by chemical means, so it's in its original form. Compounds, however, are combined with something else, so a material that can be broken down into simpler parts by chemical means, so they're a combination of 2 elements. Examples of elements are helium gas, carbon, sodium, iron, copper, and zinc. And examples of compounds are distilled water, table salt, and carbon dioxide. You can see that there's 2 different elements in there. Definition: a compound is a material that consists of atoms of 2 or more different elements chemically bonded together. So a combination of 2. Examples of compounds are water, ammonia, and table salt. The properties of a compound differ from the properties of elements that it is made up of, so it forms new properties. Compounds can be broken down into simpler materials, and compounds are also pure because of the particles. The compound consists of always bond in the same ratio, and water molecules are H2O and can never be HO or HO2, and that will be very different chemical. It works like a puzzle. Pieces can only fit together in a certain way. So if you have 2 hydrogen and just 1 oxygen, that's the only way they can fit together. So 1 oxygen and 2 hydrogen will make 1 water particle. Forces between particles. Attractive forces exist between the atoms, and the attractive forces keep the atoms together so a compound can form. These attractive forces between atoms are usually very strong. Examples. Here we have water, H2O, oxygen there, don't know what that is, nitrogen something, CO2, carbon dioxide, and also don't know what that is. Attractive forces also exist between molecules. Attractive forces between molecules are usually fairly weak. Repelling forces also exist between particles when it is pushed close together. So that will kind of work like a magnet. This is the summary in the textbook. And here we go. Atoms are the smallest particles from which matter is made. And the charge of a neutron is without charge. The charge of a proton is positive, and the charge of an electron is negative. Where are they found? The neutron is found in the nucleus in the middle. Where is the proton found? Also in the nucleus in the middle. And where is the electron found? In the space around the nucleus. Neutrons are neutral particles found in the nucleus of an atom. Protons are positive particles found in the nucleus of an atom. Electrons are negative particles found in the nucleus of an atom, and atoms are neutral. The number of electrons is equal to the number of protons, so they're the same. An element is a substance that cannot be broken down into two or more simpler substances through chemical methods. Pure materials are made up of elements and compounds. Elements consist of one kind of atom, are found in the periodic table, and cannot be broken down into simpler materials. Compounds, forming two or more different atoms chemically bond with each other, can be broken down into simpler materials, and they are not found on the periodic table. They are pure, and they can only be separated by chemical reactions and addition of energy. They have properties that are different to the elements from which it is made up of, and atoms of a compound are always bonded in a specific ratio. A compound is a substance that can form when two or more different atoms bind with each other chemically. A mixture is the components are not in a specific ratio, and the components retain their own properties, and the components can easily be separated by physical methods, like pulling them apart or throwing them through a sieve. A decomposition reaction is a chemical reaction that breaks up a compound into simpler products. Energy is required for that, like heat or something. Particles in the nucleus of an atom. This is an atom, and they have neutrons, protons, and neutrons, and protons are the nucleus. And around it is the electrons. Now, all matter consists of atoms. Atoms consist of mass and volume. Definition: atoms are the smallest particles of which all matter is made. Elements: an element is a material that cannot be broken down into two or more simpler materials by chemical means, so it's in its original form. Pure materials: particles that are all the same, and they can be elements or compounds. Compounds: a compound is a material that forms when two or more different elements chemically bond with each other. A material can be broken down chemically into simpler parts, so compound, combination of two. A mixture: a mixture is a components that retain their own properties. The particles do not look the same and can be separated through physical methods. So these are definitely a mixture because these look very different. They are impure usually and also made out of matter. And the pure ones are just plain elements. Consist of one type of atom found on the periodic table, and they cannot be broken down into simpler substances. Atoms usually are these little big balls, and if you combine them together, you get a compound with different other balls from different colors. Forms when two or more atoms bond. They can break up into simpler substances and does not occur on the periodic table. They can be separated through chemical reactions and have other properties that the elements from which it is built, and atoms bound in a specific relationship. So they will always have three of one and one of the other, and that is how the whole thing will look. See, it repeats itself. Diatomic elements have the same little balls of the same color bounded together, so two oxygens together. And that's it. Now that is it. You can listen to this again and pause the video when needed. If you need to hear something again, just repeat it and until it is in your brain. And good luck.